Welcome back to the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast here with San Francisco Dons head coach Chris Gerlufsen making his MTM debut right here, and he's doing it with a 2-0 record. That's not a bad deal right there. Now, the Dons defeated Texas Southern earlier in the week. Last night, they took a 60-48 victory over Cal Poly. Coach, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. It's good to connect.
Yeah, very good to connect. Yes. Of course, I was going to say, and we mentioned this, you were with Coach Golden last season. And of course, he moved on to Florida and you became the head coach at USF. I was just curious about the transitioning and in that phase from an assistant coach to a head coach at the same school.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I was fortunate enough to, be here for our incredible run that we had last year and having the chance to get back to the NCAA tournament, something that USF hadn't done in 24 years is a great accomplishment. But, just thankful to have had the opportunity to work with Todd because, coming here in the summer of last year, from the moment I got here, he treated me almost like I was a co-head coach. And so I had a lot of influence. I had a lot of opportunity to give insight and really just have a thumbprint on the program and do things kind of hand in hand with him. So, when he got the incredible opportunity to go to Florida, which was, well-deserved, and I was fortunate enough for the administration here to trust in me. And so I moved one seat over and it's been a whirlwind ever since.
Good job. Good job. Now, I wanted to ask you, your dad was the head coach at UMass, I think, in the early 90s. Now, as you watched him coach basketball, what did you see that made you want to kind of follow suit?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in a gym since I was in diapers, and that's really all I've ever known growing up was, going to practices early in the morning and traveling with the team. And, so from a very early age, I knew that's what I wanted to do. Not even just, from being around my dad, but just being around, the other coaches that I had a chance to be around growing up and growing up in a really, heavy basketball influenced city like Philadelphia. I think that really shaped me too. From the players that I had a chance to be around, but also just the really good coaches that I was around growing up.
Yeah. Now, who were some of the coaches, in addition to your father, that you also kind of made a print with there?
Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up in Philadelphia, you had Rolly Massimino at Villanova. You had John Chaney at Temple, who was one of my favorite coaches growing up was Coach Chaney. You just had, the Philadelphia Big Five. And I grew up, going to doubleheaders at the Palestra in Philadelphia and just getting a chance to really experience what college basketball was all about from a young age. And just taking it all in. And as I said, getting to just see kind of firsthand a lot of quality head coaches right in the backyard where I grew up.
Now, like we said, you're 2-0 this week, and you had a 60-48 win last night against Cal Poly, but you beat Texas Southern 90-77. What are your thoughts on being able to play maybe two styles of basketball and win by double digits, doing so with both teams?
Yeah, that's a great question. We scored the ball at a high clip, shot the ball at a high clip in our first game against Texas Southern. For whatever reason, last night we were a little disjointed offensively. And, I always say, there's going to be a time and point in a season where you have to win an ugly game, and last night was just that. It wasn't a pretty basketball game, but we were gritty and we were pretty good on the defensive end, forced 24 turnovers last night, changed our defenses up. And so just having the chance I've been a part of games like that in the past where, you're kind of in a dogfight, things aren't going your way. And I've seen teams lose those games. So to be able to figure it out and find a way to win and do whatever we had to do to win the game is encouraging.
Yeah, changing defenses is a good momentum changer, like that in any game. Now, did you see the momentum change some when you were able to do that yesterday?
Yeah, I thought, we pressed a little bit more than what we normally do, and really kind of our thought in doing that was we were trying to just energize our group, right? And try to catch a rhythm which would hopefully lend itself to the offensive end. And so I thought we were able to generate some easy baskets off our defense, which was great to see. And it was just one of those games where, we had to just change it up a little bit. So, but I'm proud of our guys. They followed what our keys and what our game plan was from a defensive standpoint.
Mhm.
And, some things we need to clean up from an offensive standpoint, but I'm encouraged because there'll be another point in the season where we have to win, an ugly game when things aren't going well for us offensively.
Now you've got a well-known player, a very good player, a player I like to watch in Khalil Shabazz. Now he had 18 last night. Talk about having a player with that much experience and maybe the basketball karma, that having him as you start your first season as a head coach in a new season.
Yeah, Khalil's a guy that if I was picking a team, I would always want to have on my side. He's 5'10", maybe on a good day,
Yeah.
but he plays with tremendous heart and passion, and that speaks to myself. I think he plays a full 40 minutes. He's a guy who's going to leave it all out on the floor. He can affect the game on the offensive end, the defensive end, and he's a great extension of our coaching staff. He's a guy who understands me. He knows what we're looking to do on both sides of the ball, and he can impart that stuff, on the rest of our group. So can't say enough about him. He had a really good game last night, and he's transitioning a little bit. He's handling the ball more than he has in the past, which has been, it's been fun to see and kind of be a part of that for him.
Is he enjoying, kind of a different normalcy, you think?
Yeah, I think, not to say that he took a back seat to Jamari Bouye last year, but
Sure.
it was a different dynamic. And I think part of the fun part of the group we have this year is him kind of meshing with Tyrell Roberts, who again he's a high quality guard. Marcus Williams transferred from Texas A&M, and Julian Rishwain. So we're still kind of building the chemistry in the backcourt, and I think as the season goes along, that group will be even more dangerous as the season progresses.
I wanted to ask you about Jamari Bouye real quick. The 36-point effort last year in the tournament. I know you had a close loss in overtime to Murray State, but as you watched him play like that, what were your thoughts during and after?
Number one, that was a tremendous just college basketball game to be a part
Yeah.
of. And unfortunately, we did not wind up, on the right side of things. But, after the dust kind of settled and you go back and you look at it, it was an amazing game, and to me, one of the best games of the NCAA tournament, just the back and forth. And we were down 6 or 8, I think, with like a minute and 45 left in the game, find a way to get it to overtime. And Murray State made a lot of big plays, and we did too. And it was just special to be a part of that. And Jamari, to score 36 on a national stage, wasn't surprised to see it, but it was just fun to be a part of.
Sure. Now you mentioned Tyrell Roberts. He's another solid 3-point shooter. He transfers over from Washington State. Talk about a little bit about his appearance in the backcourt with Shabazz. How do they work together?
Yeah, I think, the exciting part about it is I don't think they've necessarily scratched the surface in terms of what they will kind of mesh into. We're still kind of finding our way in the backcourt, which is good with me. It's going to take some time. But
Mhm.
he's a guy similar to Khalil that can affect the game in a lot of different ways. can score the ball, can facilitate, and he's pretty tough on the defensive end. So two undersized guards, but I think they're tough to deal with on a nightly basis. Two guys who are capable of putting up big numbers, scoring the ball.
Now, you did have a really solid transfer class. Marcus Williams, we mentioned, he came over from Texas A&M. He started at Wyoming. How does his physicality on the point lend itself to your philosophy on defense?
Yeah, I mean, he's the most pure point guard in our program, number one. But he's different than Khalil and Tyrell. He's 6'3", 205, big, strong, physical guard, as you mentioned, and can play on both sides of the ball. He's the best guy in pick and roll situation on our team. He's explosive. I've been surprised at how well he has shot the ball. That was kind of the knock on him coming here, was he was kind of just inconsistent shooting the ball, and he's really impressed me with his ability to shoot the ball and also get downhill and make decisions and make other people better. So he's a guy who I think will just continue to progress and develop, and he's going to be a key piece for our team going forward.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. You have a lot of depth there in the backcourt, as we see. And I was going to ask you about that. I noticed last night you had 9 players average double figures in minutes in these first 2 games. That defines the type of depth I think everybody would like to have.
No, for sure. And against Texas Southern, we played 10 guys and played 10 guys double figure minutes. So, that is a goal. And we continue to preach that with our group is being selfless and understanding that our depth and our ability to wear people down over the course of a 40-minute game, I think that can really separate us going forward. We have a lot of combinations that we can use and play, a lot of good players. And really just buying into the fact that our depth and being able to play that many guys can really separate us, especially over the course of a long season.
Yeah, there's been rumors out here that the NCAA tournament may be starting to look at expansion. I was curious about your opinion of that. And then, what do you think might be the best way to go about expanding it?
A lot of people have asked me about that, and I am open to whatever is best for college basketball, number one.
Sure.
I think if you expand it too much, my initial thing would be, are you messing with the quality of the games? The beauty of the tournament now is you have the best teams in the country playing. You get a chance to see non-Power 5 schools going against Power 5 schools in a setting where upsets happen. And I would just hope, if it expands, that they preserve just the quality of play. You know what I mean? And that would be my one kind of just thought. I don't know whether I'm right, wrong, or indifferent. But I think if you expand it too much, that maybe the quality of games may diminish, especially early in the tournament.
Yeah, and that's something, you don't want to see. I mean, for somebody like me, you like to see a couple of upsets right off the bat that kind of stir the pot a little bit on the tournament. Coach Chris Gerlufsen, ladies and gentlemen, and Marching to Madness, his first and certainly not his last appearance on your coach. It's been a pleasure, man.
I appreciate you having me on, Ken. It was a pleasure.
Oh, yeah, and good luck to you this year. I'll be watching because I like following the West Coast Conference. It's a lot of fun.